Go.
Good evening and welcome to Whispers of the Soul. Tonight we're talking about how do you keep love in your heart and peace in your mind when the world is on fire or flooding. I just thought this was a very timely topic, and so let's go blue sky woman.
Okay. Well, staying grounded and staying spiritual actually are kind of the way they showed it to me years ago, which was a new concept to me at the time, because I was like, oh, you got to be spiritually connected, and then you got to be grounded. I'm like, well, which one is it? Well, it turns out you need both. It's a circuit. It makes a complete circuit when you're connected and you're grounded. Because if you're too spiritual, you're flopping around, and if you're too grounded, you're kind of stuck. You got your feet in the earth and not paying attention beyond. And I know from my journey, there was a period of time that I was like so spiritually connected on, like all the time, and conversing with spiritual beings, that I could not function. I don't know how my kids survived, because I wasn't cooking. I think they must have ate a lot of apples, but it's so hard, and your heart, you're just yearning. You want to be there because you're in this, you're feeling it, you're knowing it, you're experiencing it, and it's so wonderful. The same like people that have NDEs, right? They're all like, well, they don't want to come home or come back here because it's so wonderful. And I did die once, but I didn't get to have anything that I remembered, which really stinks because I'm envious, jealous, whatever. Anyway, so yes, if you go too far into the spirit world, you're really kind of off your rocker. And if you're too far grounded, so you have to have both and be in balance. So coming back to the chaos of this world, one, we talk about this all the time. One, you chose to be here, and maybe we don't all have a great or deep understanding of why we chose to be here at this time, in this situation, this gender, this age, this whatever, but we still did. And so having faith that it's right that you are here at this time for a reason, and holding on to that is going to help, right? All the stuff. And actually, when I said my prayer before we started, they're like, you keep your mind, keep your focus on the path. And I'm like, oh, like that saying, keep your eyes on the prize. The prize is where you're going, right? Yeah, we're all on the same path of getting from where we are to where we're going, and we're all going the same place, maybe to different levels and degrees, which we can talk about some other time, but we're all going to drop our bones. So if I have focused on that, and then all the calamities and celebrations and disappointments and joys, all those things are part of my experience, and I should appreciate them. But at the same time, that I have a focus, that I am going this way, I am slogging along to get there. So holding grounding, and at the same time having that spiritual focus, in a nutshell, is really the only way you're going to make it. Either that, or like just go on a really long bender and not experience anything in the meantime, because you're not going to remember it. So and again, so that floating away thing, if you're floating away in the spirit realm, then you're not really doing anything that you came here for. And you did come here for a reason. We all did. So, and I'm here to tell you that it's fun would not be the right word. It's very powerful and uplifting, but at the same time, because I do have a physical body that I'm maintaining, it's really, 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 really hard. So you go ahead and try it, but I would love to hear it how it goes for you. So we want to experience this world as we are in our spiritual balance, between grounding and spiritual, and not try and fluff things off. Not try and there's this expression, well, actually there's a term called spiritual bypass that somebody came up with in the 80s. Look it up. It's very interesting. It's a new, the concept is not new to me, but that terminology is new to me. So I found it interesting. But it's easy for us to start using some of these spiritual expressions, like it is what it is. A very powerful statement. When you can embrace that, you can really let go of some of the worries. But at the same time, we need to observe and experience, not shove it in the corner, because it is what it is. And my favorite one, in alignment with this topic tonight, is everything happens for a reason. So something good happens, or something troubling happens, and we can be all spiritual and say, well, everything happens for a reason, and walk on. But you're kind of missing the point. When we say everything happens for a reason, it does happen for a reason. But the answer isn't walk on. The response is explore it. Why did it happen? And you're not always going to know. Just put that out there. You're not always going to know. But if it happened for a reason and you don't explore it, you don't learn the lesson, you don't try and figure out where the growth was supposed to be happening here, then you're going to get hit with it again. And then you're going to be again, you're going to go, oh, everything happens for a reason, and ignore it. And then again, and it could happen if believe me, if your guides want you to learn something, they are going to throw it at you until you get it. Whether it's over 2 weeks or 2 years or 2 decades, they're going to do their best to try and get you to learn the lesson, because you agreed to that. You wanted to have that lesson, whatever it is. And we also have multiple lessons, right? So everything happens for a reason. If we are very spiritually advanced, I could see us getting to a place of everything happens for a reason and just moving on. But I'm not there. I don't think I know anybody that is. And so I think that I still need to explore what that reason might be, and what I can glean from it. What can I pull out from it that is of benefit to me, that will help to continue me on my journey. That wasn't good English, but and one little test for yourself, if you're not sure, let me back this up. Sometimes we get very detached from and we can be very kind of and fluff it off. But if you are doing the thing that we always talk about, taking yourself into account each day and exploring what you did and how you're doing and how are you a better person today than you were yesterday, and something happens and you explore the reason and you want to know, are you really detached, or are you fluffing it off? Are you doing that spiritual bypass thing? Are you then turning to a coping tool? Are you then having a drink? Are you having some chocolate? Are you turning on the porn or a football game or something then that's not you being all spiritual and detached and, oh, it is what it is, or everything happens for a reason. That's you going, I can't handle it, and I'm going to find a way to not look into the reason behind it and do this other thing, so that I'm not, that's not true spiritual. That's not showing up. That's not being an exploratory whole person. You're just kind of faking it. And I'm not saying that to be mean to anybody or to call anybody out or to be in judgment on anybody, because we're all on this journey. We all start somewhere and we're plugging along, and we all are going to go through all these various phases and continue on. I mean, I got a whole infinite phases to go yet, as do all of you. So it's not about judgment. It's a gentle reminder that you might want to look at those things and consider, what are you doing? And are there ways that you can tweak your life a little bit to get further along on there? Does that
So
make
how
sense?
do you know when you're truly detached, or when you are kind of using it as a tool to not care,
Mm-hmm. Was that a question, or was that a?
No, that's a question. How do you know?
Well, how do you know? Well,
I'm
again,
gonna
that's why I was
say
saying, if you then use it, like I sometimes, if I get into such a, I've had just, I'll be, I need some chocolate. And I used to like need some chocolate like every day. Now it's just once in a while, but I'm like, I need some chocolate. I'm like, I just went through something stressful and I need some chocolate. I will also reflect on the situation and be, okay, where did I screw up? How could I have shown up better? How could, how much of this was, one of my sons used to always, I'd be yelling at him or something. He'd be like, Mom, when's the last time you ate something? And my behavior is because I haven't eaten, right? I'm hangry. So I'm going to reflect on what I've done. But sometimes, like I said, that piece of chocolate just makes me feel better. And I used to drink a lot of alcohol. It's been a long, long time since I've had any. But every once in a while, it'll get so bad that chocolate isn't going to do it. I'll be like, I need a margarita. I want a margarita right now. I don't actually get a margarita. It would probably knock me on my ass. Excuse me. But just the thought, just my venting that and saying that, I feel better, right? So I have coping mechanisms. So I'm not as detached as I would like to be, because I'm still having something that I'm trying to find a way to cope with this. I'm trying to be like, okay, how can I make myself feel better? I'm not feeling good right now. So if you need to cope, if there's some way that you're needing to cope, then you're not as detached as you might want to be. Does that answer your question?
I was thinking more of understanding the difference, because I do feel, maybe not everyone, but when we're using those coping mechanisms, I think many of us recognize we're using coping mechanisms, and maybe many of us don't. But how do you tell the difference between true spiritual detachment and maybe numbness or not caring, but calling it detachment because you have to not care because it's so overwhelming or so out of control? Do you know what I'm saying? It's two different things. How do you recognize them? Sometimes
because sometimes sometimes we've been so buffeted by the storm that we kind of shut down, because I just can't take it anymore. I need to just shut down and go internal and take care of myself. So if it's like a permanent thing that you really don't care, not really don't care, because you do care. That, I think that's the difference, because you do really care, but you're either in pain or you're really trusting that it's in God's hands. It's in your heart. You'll know in your heart. You'll just have to sit with it. And one way to discern the difference is you make a statement. I am feeling detached because I'm in pain. Does it feel true or not? I'm feeling detached because I really am fully. And I mean, there are going to be a lot of, that's kind of each end of the spectrum. There's going to be more variations in between, and try and explore where you are. And if you're detached because of hurt, then take care of yourself, lie low for a while, but don't move in there. Don't stay there, because you are detaching, you are shutting your life down. So it's okay to take care of yourself, but have in the mindset that, okay, I'm in a cave right now. I'm being a hermit. I need to take care of myself, but I'm going to come out. And maybe I'm just going to walk out to the front of the cave and sit in the sunlight for a little while and go back into the cave. And then maybe tomorrow I'll walk a little down to the river and sit there and think and maybe say hi to somebody and come back. Obviously, this is allegorical, but the point is, don't let yourself shut yourself down in the cave where you're stuck and you can't come out.
Right. You're back to the issue of balance again, right?
Balance.
Yeah. Don't slough it off, but don't move in either, right? Don't repress it and not grieve, but don't permanently grieve.
Yes.
That's tough. When you're talking about the balance between spirituality and being grounded, what is your definition of being grounded, or what is the divine definition of being grounded?
You know what the Taurus is? Have you ever seen that? What do you know what? It's I don't know how to explain it with words, but it's Taurus, Taurus. So imagine a donut shape, and you're standing in the middle of this donut shape, and the energy is going around this way and around this way. So it's all around, and so it's like a vortex, because there are cross points and it's this energy moving around you and you're in it. So I'm sorry, I forgot the question. Oh, the definition. The definition, yes. The definition of so when you're in that balance between the two, then you have everything moving. If you're grounded, if you're heavier on the grounded side, then you're more okay. So being grounded means that you are connected to the earth and all that is around you, especially on this physical plane. When you bring in the spiritual side of it, that Taurus becomes is complete, because you're including spiritual, etheric, non-visual energies as well. Not that energies are generally visual, but when you're grounded, you're thinking about the earth energies, and you're thinking about the flowers and the water and the this and that, which is wonderful. And so is the spiritual thing. But when you want it to be in balance, because you are, as Pierre whatever his name is, Duchard, whatever, the French priest guy, we are spiritual beings having a physical experience. We are both. We are both. And that leads us right back to where we started, of you being on the path. You are a spiritual being having a physical experience. And that's it. That's the truth of it. If you can embrace that and start thinking with an eternal mind versus an earthbound mind, then things are going to flow better. And you're not bypassing, you're experiencing, you're going through. I can't tell you how many times over the years a client will be like, oh gosh, how do I just get around this? I'm like, there's no around. You don't go around. You got to go through. You don't necessarily have to go like full blast with a monster truck through. Maybe you like tiptoe through, but you got to go through. There's no around. That's just avoiding it, and you're just going to get hit with it again. So just go through and move on.
Any tips on going through? You talked about practices that help our nervous system, to help us stay rooted in the storm. What are some of those practices?
Okay, we are spiritual beings. Prayer, meditation, walk in the woods, getting the energies, right? All those good things, good thoughts, good words, good actions. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So you have to take care of your body. You have to eat right. You have to go for a walk, enjoy the stars, the moon, the sun, the leaves, the trees. You have to take care of all of yourself. It doesn't, you have to, if you're not taking care of your body, then yeah, your nervous system is a mess. I mean, and it's going to happen that we have, that we have seasons during which we're a mess. But overall, we need to be trying to be in balance. And that, again, comes back to the prayer and meditation things. Affirmations, if you want to use affirmations. There are so many tools out there. So many tools. Come to Butterfly. Come to the retreat. We have such a wonderful time. We're taking care of ourselves and our bodies and each other, and there's joy and laughter and tears, having spiritual experiences, having great food. It embraces all of that in one weekend. But if you can't do that, there's going to be something by you. There's going to be maybe a group at your church of folks that get together and have some kind of, spiritually health-minded, wellness-focused gathering. Or, I mean, there's tons of stuff on YouTube, books, so many resources. You're not alone. I know it can feel very alone, especially when those around you are not seeing this experience the same way as you are. But there are resources.
Would you ask, I'm so curious about trauma response, trauma healing from trauma is such a part of the conversation right now. What could we be told from the divine realm that is the most powerful thing you could do? Whether it's healing cultural trauma, generational trauma, spiritual trauma, or just lived trauma in everyone's lives. We all have it.
Well, that's the work that I do, right? You're asking me, you got to do the work. You got it. I gave this presentation a few times. I called it Dancing with Skeletons. And it's based on the concept that that skeletons in the closet thing, and especially it used to be in the day because you didn't talk about things, you did not talk about things. And you shoved it in the closet because what are you going to do with it? So those skeletons in the closet are still driving you. You think you got them locked away, but they still own you. They are still in control. So until you open that closet door, and you might only be able to open it a crack at first, but you got to open that closet door. You got to get the skis and the winter coats and the boots and the, extra stuff that finds its way into the closet. Got to move that out of the way and get the skeleton. Bring the skeleton out of the closet, look them in the eyes, and dance. You need to dance with your skeletons. It's the only way you can clear it. If you can do it on your own, that's fantastic. If not, that's what healers do, right? That's our purpose. Find somebody. maybe you need references or whatever, but find somebody. There are books. There are plenty of books out there that you can read for like examples, and some even have like workshop kind of ways of doing things. That can help too. It depends, of course. I mean, some skeletons are bigger than others. Some skeletons you really need help with. Some skeletons, yeah, they're pretty easy on their own, but not all of them. So if you need help, you need help. Get help.
I'll never forget when you had me literally dance with my skeleton. Of course, there was nobody there, but that was, I'm just going to testify that it's life-altering.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. And so that was a literal one where we literally had to do, yeah. See, and I don't drive how it goes, like the session goes. Wendy's, however many sessions we've had together, everyone is different. Shelley, anybody that they're all different. It's because it's not my idea. It's the concourse. The beings on high, they tell me what to do, what is going to work for you. So, but yeah, so that's funny that you had a literal dancer with skeletons, because I don't remember everything. There's so many.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, how beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Oh gosh. To me, and just as an aside, there is nothing more beautiful, nothing more profound. And whether this is me working one-on-one with somebody, or when we're in group together, a workshop or a retreat or whatever, when you see the shift in the person, it's such a deep love. And often there's people that you don't even know, like you don't know them outside of that experience, and yet you love them, and everybody loves it's just, I really don't think what can be better than that? Helping somebody else.
So then that kind of reminds me, when you're talking about trauma, you're talking about healing from trauma or releasing trauma. How is discomfort sacred, and what is the myth of high vibration? Because I think they go together, How is discomfort sacred?
What was the first? Discomfort is sacred because that's how things happen. That's when the change happens. Sitting on your couch isn't going to get, I mean, yeah, you can do meditation or whatever, but the stuff happens when you have the experience. We are gifted with hundreds of emotions. Each emotion has its own frequency, its own energy, and it has its own job in relation to you and how you use it. And you need to experience it. If you're sitting like they told that concept of heaven, if you're like, oh, you're in heaven, and the streets are of gold, and I'm going to be sitting on a cloud with a harp, and I'm like, what? 5 minutes. I'll give you 5 minutes, and then I'm out of there. Nothing's happening. You're not growing. That's. You need to have discomfort. You need to have discomfort so you appreciate comfort. Light and dark, all those nuances and extremes, and it's life. You're not to be a bump on a log. Who wants to be a bump on a log? You want to be a bump on a log?
But so how does that fit with think positive thoughts, good actions? That's not always where we are. So what is that myth of high vibration?
So having good thoughts, yes, you have the experience that you're in. And at the same time you can, and at the same time, you can be observing and appreciating what's happening. This is good. This is really good. I'm hurting right now, but I know that this is good. I've got some growth happening right now. So that's a positive thought, right? You're not letting it drag you down. You're not like, all these things happen to me all the time. Oh gosh, we get ourselves into this pile of muck instead of going, oh, look, I could be learning from this stuff. So you're having the experience and having a positive thought about it rather than a negative thought about it. And then when you're not having those experiences, you're going around life, you're like, everything's great, you know, and maybe you're not singing and skipping and dancing to it, but you're walking with a presence of gratitude. Huh. Now, isn't that cool, that red car, how that shined, how the light shined on that red is so beautiful. That's pretty cool. I like it. You know, see it as a good thing. See all the little things. Oh, that bird. Such a beautiful bird.
You're just talking about how you frame it then, how you think about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what is the myth of high vibration, though? What is that?
It's referring to the myth. There's this high vibes only thing, which is what we're talking about. High vibes only, that's the sitting in the cloud with the harp and the streets of gold and walls of silver or whatever, diamonds, whatever. I don't remember how it's in the Bible somewhere. I remember years ago, I was on a project for Eli Lilly out in the boonies, and there was a group of us that we would have lunch together almost every day, and we would always have these great philosophical, religious discussions. Really was enjoyable, but we were all of different faiths, and so of course there's a lot of things that we would agree on and other things that you know. Anyway, so this one person, she was a what do you call it, a born again Christian or something, I don't know, maybe there's more than one type, I don't know. And she was trying to convert me to her faith. And she's like, don't you want to have the streets of gold and the diamonds and the this and the that and I'm like, I don't see that as a literal thing. I see that as an allegory. First of all, in spirit world, how would you have, you know, I mean, that doesn't mean that there aren't other realms, other planets that have literal gold or whatever. I'm not saying that. But in spiritual, you're a spiritual being. So what would you need that? What would you need a street of? Doesn't even make logic sense. But I see it as allegorical. And again, I don't want to be, you know, the bump on the log. I want to have experiences. And she's like, well, so I'm like, yeah, so I really don't care about the diamonds. So she's like, well, if you don't care about the diamonds, can I have your diamonds? And I'm like, yeah, sure. You can have my diamonds. if they're literal diamonds, you can have my diamonds. Now, to me, diamonds, I mean, I don't know, I'm not a biblical scholar or anything, but diamonds probably has some kind of spiritual meaning. And so whatever the spiritual aspect of that, no, that I'm retaining that. But if it's like literal little rocks, you can have them. I may regret it someday, who knows? So yeah, it's high vibes only is what we're striving for, but the only is what where we want high vibes, but we want to allow for fluctuations, right? In experiences. What?
No, it's kind of the same concept of experiencing it authentically, right?
Yes.
It's the conversation in the beginning, right? Of everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
It's really kind of digging into it a bit and letting yourself experience it.
Yes. Yes.
So on this topic of walking authentically in the world and being light and love in a really challenging world right now, so many people talk about they give up hope because they just don't feel that they can affect change, right, as one person.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm just living in my house, doing my garden, you know, not doing much, babysitting for my grandkids, how do you feel hope as an individual? How do we feel hope as a collective? That this is meaningful, that what we think and do every day has meaning, or it has matter. It matters.
Mhm.
Does that make any
Because
sense?
because it does matter. And you can't sit and go, well, I'm just one person, so what I do doesn't matter. Because you multiply that by 1,000, 1,000,000, 1,000,000,000 of people going, oh, I'm just one person, doesn't matter, then you're part of the problem. You can, of course, go out and do things in a bigger way, join some agency that's doing work towards some issue that you're aligned with. But you sitting in your garden, babysitting your grandkids, you can be doing that from a space of service and love. And that energy goes out there. And, we were talking about this a little bit ago about, the world situation, the chaos and everything. And I had this idea I'm like, if we all of us, every day, and we don't have to all do it at the same time, because, how do you coordinate that? But just if we all prayed each day for those of us on this earth who are making big mistakes in a big way all the time that are affecting everyone else, and say 1,000,000 of us or 1,000,000,000 of us prayed for those people, that'd be awesome. We could affect big change. And I don't have to be in a group with anybody. I can just say prayers that I want, and I have over the more and more, like when I say prayers, some of them, not all of them, but like usually, anyway, it doesn't matter. There's no formula. You do it how you want to do it, or don't do it. But as I'm praying, I'm envisioning myself with all of us together, all our energies together. Sometimes when you pray, a lot of times you're just kind of you, right? You're kind of you sitting, standing, kneeling, whatever you're doing, praying, and you're having that conversation. But you can notice everyone around you who is, remember, we're all connected. We are all connected. So you can envision that. And to me, I feel like that deepens my intent. I say one that I kind of made up. I'm sure that it was given to me, whatever, doesn't matter. But very short one, I say, may we turn to thee, O Lord, our hearts ablaze in eagerness to serve thee. And when I say that intentionally with everybody, all of us together, because my intention is that I'm saying that prayer for everybody, for all of us together, that our focus, that our lives are serving our Creator, that we are intentionally walking that walk. And I think it matters.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think that's pretty beautiful. So, what is the most important thing we need to know about showing up whole and walking as light in the world?
We'll make sure I get that right. Walking along as joyfully as possible, as joyfully as you're able, as joyfully as you're ready. And again, it's going to fluctuate, 1 minute to the next, 1 hour to the next, 1 day to the next. And when you get poked with something, hit with something, stumble over something, be grateful. That feels hard, but it makes so much sense. We're only here for a short while. Again, if you're remembering you're that spiritual being having a physical experience, and that's on your mind as you go, it's okay. It's all right. I'm on my way home. I'm on my way home. And something happens, it's part of my journey, it's part of my lesson. I don't need to let it defeat me. Maybe it knocks me down for a day or two, minute or two, week or two, whatever. But you got to get back up and keep going.
I think that's really beautiful. And I'm kind of glad that you didn't say, um, what was it that we were saying a lot in the beginning? Discernment.
Well, discernment is important, but I guess
I
it wasn't applicable today.
This was just, I liked it. I think that was just very beautiful.
Thank you. Well, thank them. Oh,
Thank you. And before we go into our final prayer, we do want to remind everybody to like and subscribe our video. That makes it possible for us to keep coming back with more beautiful words of wisdom from Spirit.
Yeah. And we're going to keep coming back even if you don't subscribe. But you hitting that button helps us get the word out farther, right? It is what it is. Everything happens for a reason. Okay. All right. So are we ready for our little healing session? So
Yes, we're ready.
all righty. Get yourself comfortable, relaxed, allow. Don't second guess anything. Just let it be what it is. And I will send for as long as I'm meant to send, and then I will go. This will keep running. You stay on, get off, whatever. You can sit with the energy as long as you like. Just because I stopped doesn't mean the energy stopped. Or just because you don't see me anymore. You know what I mean. Okay. You see my just breathe. I'm feeling somebody's heart is tight. That doesn't mean that it's you're on right now. It might be a year from now. Somebody's heart is feeling so. Just breathe. Just breathe. It's getting better. And let yourself cry. You need to cry, cry. Just let it go.